Hey guys, welcome to another video.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Ready to start this job?
Sí.
Si, senor.
Si, senor.
We got 3 pillars. 1, 2, 3. They are called Semma, is the wall block, and this is a pallet of corners, and what they do with a pallet of corners is give you enough to make a pillar. So a pallet of corners they call a pillar kit. We also have 2 pallets of regular wall block, which as you can see it's a little different. It's still called Semma, but this is just the wall block. Shale Grey is the color, and split face is the style. The concrete blocks in the manufacturer get split and it gives it a rough face, and that's why they call it a split face. The reveal. Dude, do you already have a trash bag ready, Ben?
I do.
Wow.
Gotta be smart without thinking too much.
Trev, do you know what it's called when there's holes in the middle of the blocks?
Nope.
You don't?
Nope.
They're called cord blocks,
Wow.
because the cores are hollow. You know what it's called when they don't have holes in them?
Nope. Solids.
Solid block. What do you think about that?
Knowledge.
Knowledge, wisdom poured out in abundance. Alright, so there it is. There's the Shale Grey color tone, corners, and the regular wall block. This will be a double-sided wall. If it's not a double-sided wall, you can put the faces like this and leave this gap to be filled with stone. But seeing as it's a double-sided wall, that's how we'll have to build them. So you got a nice clean face on both sides. You know what else I told Trav about his mullet?
What?
I said once it's long enough and you get the gray strands in it, I'm gonna buy him a visor that he can wear backwards. Alright, so we got our guideline set up. We are 8 inches back from our saw cut to give us plenty of room. Any kind of excavation you do and backfill, you always go further than where your actual project is going to land. So this string is serving as our guideline for the fronts of our pillars, and it's squared off with our house. And what we also did was we leveled it out. So this string line is level, and it's also acting as our height line for our block wall and our pillars. And it's going to actually be a step up in this sitting wall, because our grade, our natural grade, is very pitched that way. It's about 7 inches lower over here than it is over here. So we really had to balance it out. And that string's going to be the top of our first row, and it's going to be the bottom of our second row. And we just kind of found the best spot to split it. And where that is right there, where the level is, that is 1.5 inches lower than the top of the asphalt. So our first row is gonna start over there, and it's gonna die right about where that level is. And then when the second row we start on top of that, we're gonna go and we're gonna follow that grade on top of the 3/4. Because at that point, if we continued that first row, it would all be buried beneath the surface, and it wouldn't be, there'd be no purpose to it. And we are going to be starting here, where our first pillar is going to go, simply because we need to start perfectly squared off with the overhang of our house. To find that, we used our level. We found about the edge of the roof, and then we plumbed it up. And we made our marks. You can see we got a mark there, and one on the bottom. And that's a perfectly plumb line from the edge of our overhang. So we're going to send a string on that line over there out to this line, and we're going to square it off using our aluminum square there. And once we find a squared off mark, we're going to mark it on the string here where our line will be, and that will be the front right corner of our first pillar, at which point this is our cornerstone, and we're going to be building from right to left down to that side. That's the one, dude. Alright, don't move it. Alright, so this, mark the string. No one touched this string. Let me double check. Double check with Ernie Beck. That looks pretty darn money, Sonny. Alright, that string can just go. We got our mark.
Okay.
So that guideline on the outside is measured the same distance off the house on both sides. So it's running parallel with the house. And that's how you square off your guideline. And once we had that guideline in, I was able to have Travis and Ben hold the string off of our plumb line for the overhang, and I was able to square that line up, giving us the starting point for our first pillar. So now I'm using my screed rails just like I would be screeding for a paver patio, and what I'm going to be doing is setting the blocks right on this chip stone. Chip stone is 3/8 of an inch or less, clean crushed stone. And that's what I use for my bedding material underneath my pavers. And that's what I'm using here to level off the first row of pillar block and the wall block. And I'm setting it a little bit higher than where I want it to be to account for compaction of these wall blocks. When I lay them on this loose stone, I want to hammer them into place with my dead blow to prevent any sinking and shifting in the future. If you lay them loosely, they may sink. Now we got our first row of the first pillar built. We use our line to stay square, but we keep it just a little bit off the block so that if there's a block with a little bit more of a bump out, it doesn't mess up our line. Have to be level on every side with pillars. Alright, so now I'm going to continue with the actual wall portion. And where we screed to is where this layer is probably going to end. And then the second row on top of this one will continue to the end of the excavated area. As we build the pillar and the wall together, the wall is actually going to be a separate piece. But between the rows, there's going to be a little piece of geogrid connecting the layers to hold them together. Guys, it's hot, huh?
It is hot.
Did you pour a drink on your belly, Ben, or is that belly button sweat?
It's belly button sweat.
I don't have belly button sweat, but I have the, this is where I grab my stuff right there and wipe everything. Trimmed up your beard, huh?
I did. I can feel the sweat on my lip.
Okay, so again, we're going to lay these blocks on the chipstone and compact them into place to make sure that they don't sink or shift in the future. And another big important thing to do so they don't sink or shift is, like I had mentioned at the beginning of this video, we excavated 8 inches further than the edges of our pillars, and it's about 16 inches further than the edge of our wall block. And that gives us a nice buffer zone in between the structure we're building and the edge of the excavation. And that's going to help us ensure that these blocks never shift or sink in the future. And as I go and get this first row in, Travis is behind me, core filling the blocks with the 3/4 inch clean crushed stone. We do that on the first row that's actually buried into the ground, but after that, we'll be all set with core filling, seeing as it's not a retaining wall. Ben's getting ready with the geogrid on the other side there, as you can see, and I'm dropping in the last block of our first row and setting that into place. It's really important to set this first row of blocks into place with that hammer. I just can't stress that enough. If you don't, the blocks definitely will shift and sink in the future. Okay, we're down to our first step up. Actually, our only step up. Cut! Redo! Okay, we're on that. Alright guys. It's hot. We are on to our step up. That's our last block on this row. And Benny's about to apply some glue so we can put the next row of the pillars on. Or the first pillar on. Okay, so as I was saying before, the wall and these pillars are going to be built separate, but this is what we're doing to interlock them. We're using sections of geogrid that connect the whole base of the wall block and the pillar and extend over to wall block into our sitting wall. And that's what's going to hold everything together and keep it from shifting. Ben's just using a pretty common concrete adhesive. It's just a glue for concrete block, and we use it for all sorts of projects like this: fire pits, walls, wall cap, everything. Wow, I'm gonna put that in slow-mo, Ben.
Really? Can't get any slower than what I do.
Oh yeah, watch. 60-second clip, dude, of you dropping that block in. You think I'd lose all audience retention? Everybody would just leave, right? You see my graph on YouTube just drop, dude. Nice. And now comes the easy part, really. Once we get the first row all set in, it's just stacking up block. It's the first row that's always the time consumer. Ben, my forehead's getting bigger, dude.
Getting bigger, or is it just becoming more revealed?
A what?
So is it getting bigger, or is it just getting more revealed?
I guess it depends how you look at it. It just looks bigger to me. Alright, you guys can see that line. If I hold it, spin it, doesn't touch. But if I let go of the back a little bit, it touches. So we're right on our line. So this line is very true to where we need to be. And I'm going to be setting my pipes to that line, or just a touch above that line, to account for compaction. pipe. So right here we want to set the pipes just a touch above this wall block right here. And we also want that bubble level. Alright, you can see it's level. And we've got just that touch above the block to account for compaction. So now that those two pipes are level and that's our benchmark, we have to level these pipes side to side. Bless you, Ben.
Hey, thanks.
Whoa! That's how you blow out your larynx, bud. Alright, so this side's actually a little higher than this side. And so is that one slightly. So we're gonna lift the side up here. The chip rock in that wheelbarrow.
It is.
So we literally have to move it up just slightly. So I like to use the smaller stone to adjust the pipe. It is level. Level. Gonna double check this side again. That looks level. Still got our space for compaction. And we're also level side to side down here. So this section is ready to be screeded out and leveled off. Yep. Yeah, you can send it right here. Like half of that. Yeah, that's good. Alright, pillar is 3 blocks high, wall is 2. Ben's got the cut ready. That's going to be going right here to start our 3rd row. And then once he gets a couple blocks in, he can start another row of the pillars. After we get past the 1st row that's going to be in the ground, we no longer have to core fill any of these. So we're just using geogrid in between the layers and we're leaving the blocks hollow. It's not retaining anything or anything like that, so the core filling isn't necessary. These are the spacers they give you, or interlockers. whatever you want to call them. We're back, Benny.
Back in action.
Another hot day.
Yeah, glad that there's some cloud cover this day though.
Yeah, we got a natural umbrella here today. They're saying possible thunderstorms. Well, guys, that's gonna wrap up this video. If you want to see us finish off these pillars and sitting walls, stay tuned for the next video that comes up on my channel. I appreciate you guys watching. As always, God bless, peace.